Well, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. I don't know if you can see me or just hear me, but either way, happy Friday, TGIF. We are so excited to be able to host this again. I think this is actually our third annual with Emily in the aidandattendance.com of being able to present information and education on the VA benefit, specifically aid and attendance. It is a benefit that so many of our clients use, and so many people that we come in contact with do not know enough information about. So we're really grateful to Emily to be able to educate us today. If you're not familiar with Sunways, my husband Mark and I own and operate Sunways Senior Living Concierge. We are a free placement and concierge service for seniors and their families to essentially compare care options as well as locate resources like aidandattendance.com in their community. So what that looks like is that if folks are trying to stay safe at home, we make recommendations for home care and resources to allow them to do that as long as possible. But if placement is needed into independent living, assisted living, memory care, or even long-term skilled nursing, we're able to educate and handhold through that process to make sure that they're making the best decision. So with all of that, I will be sticking around, kind of manning the chat. So if there's any specific questions that you have during the presentation, if you put it into the chat box down there at the bottom, I'll be able to respond to that. And then both Emily and I will be fielding questions at the end as well. So you are good to go, Emily, to kick it off.
Okay, great. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Happy early Veterans Day. I know it's a week from today, but I'm thrilled to be able to kick off what I call Veterans Week with all of you today. So we are recording this for those who weren't on at the very beginning. If you have someone that you want to share that recording with, it will be going out tomorrow. I know there's many more than 14 people that in your area that don't know about the aid and attendance benefit. So I'm more than happy for you to share that with others. And with that, let's get started with our learning. So what are we going to do today? Well, you guys are actually going to get a sneak peek. This is my maiden voyage of this presentation of the 2022 maximum benefit amounts. Why am I talking about, 2023. See, I told you it's my maiden voyage. Why am I talking about 2023 already? And today is only November 4th. Well, because the VA starts their fiscal year on December 1. So actually, if any of you are going to apply for yourself or a loved one, your payment amount would be the $2023 amount if you would start in December. So I figured no point in teaching you about 2023. None of you are going to get that lower amount. You're actually going to get the $2023 amounts, which are 8.7% greater than in 2022. We're going to go over the 4 areas of eligibility that make someone able to receive these dollars. You need to meet all 4 areas of eligibility at the same time, and that's what aidandattendance.com does for families. And for Ellie and Sunways, we help people understand if they're eligible for this benefit now or in the future. And lastly, I'm going to demonstrate our free eligibility survey. You can go on our website, hopefully not now, but as soon as I'm done, and do your own survey to figure out if you're eligible. And then if you'd like, you can use our online software to do your own VA application. So what are the 2023 maximum benefit amounts? I'm going to try to learn these. I think I almost have them memorized now. A surviving spouse, that is usually the single woman, is eligible for $1,432 a month. A single veteran is eligible for $2,229 a month. And a married veteran is going to be eligible for one of 2 benefit amounts. Let's start with the higher dollar amount at the bottom of the chart, not just because it's very large, but because it actually happens more often. That is when a married veteran needs care and he's married. Now his spouse might need care or he or she may not. Doesn't matter. As long as the veteran needs care and they're married, they can receive over $400 more than the single veteran because they have a dependent. Now sometimes, and less often, we have a married veteran who is healthy, but that veteran's spouse needs care. In that situation, the veteran can apply for the spouse, essentially based on the spouse's care needs and care costs, and receive up to $1,750. That money will go to the veteran, but obviously it will be used to help pay for the spouse's care. All of these dollars are tax-free and paid directly to the applicant. This is about $16,000 to over $31,000 a year. This is why it's important to understand about this benefit and how it can pay for your senior living. Okay, so who is aidainattendance.com? Essentially, we are a technology company. We help families and professionals understand their eligibility criteria, and then we help you complete your application online. We were founded by myself and a VA accredited attorney. He brings the legal background to ensuring that every claim done on our website will go through the VA. I am actually a former home care agency owner, so I have been working with seniors and senior care for quite a long time. The 4 criteria of the benefit are military service of the veteran, health of the applicant, net income after medical expenses, and family net worth. This is what we're going to deep dive on today. So let's start with the first one. The first criteria of the benefit is wartime service. In order for a veteran or the surviving spouse to be eligible, the veteran needs to have served at least 1 day of active duty during, that was a tongue twister, duty during a wartime period. No combat is required. That is actually one of the biggest mistakes. People think you have to be in the combat zone in order to be eligible. Incorrect. You need 1 day of active duty during a wartime period and a total of 90 active duty days. They do not even have to be consecutive. And sometimes that happens with the reservists, the National Guard, and the Merchant Marines. The dates that you see on the slide are also on our homepage and in our survey, so you don't have to write them down. But the veteran needs to have served 1 day during these ranges. You also need to have a discharge of anything other than dishonorable. And a surviving spouse has to apply on her most recent husband's service. That means if she was married to a wartime veteran and then he passes and she remarries a non-wartime veteran or no veteran at all, she is unfortunately no longer eligible to go back on that veteran, the prior veteran's benefits. If she is divorced from the veteran, she is also not eligible for this benefit. So it's always on the last marriage, and that marriage needs to have ended at the time of death. If you do not know when you served or your loved one served, or you don't know where your discharge papers are, known as a DD-214, we can also help you order them. We work with a third party. You can order them right through our website, and they can typically get you your discharge papers in about 3 to 4 weeks. Alternatively, you can do it for free and go through the National Archives. However, I would say that's more like 3 to 4 months in order to get them. Second criteria of the benefit is medical. The VA is looking to see if the veteran or the spouse, or maybe both of them, need care with a physical or cognitive impairment. So a physical impairment means that you need help with 2 activities of daily living: bathing, dressing, toileting, feeding, transferring, ambulating. The easiest way to qualify for a physical impairment is by allowing your community to help you with a shower assist. A shower assist is bathing and dressing. We're making sure that you safely get in and out of the shower and redressed without slipping and falling. That's it. If that happens once or twice a week at your community, the entire cost of your building is a medical expense. Now, we might have some family members on the line who have parents that have dementia or Alzheimer's. That is enough to get this benefit. So you're not showing physical and cognitive impairment. It's physical or cognitive impairment. Again, one of the biggest misnomers. So if a doctor is going to diagnose your loved one with dementia or Alzheimer's, then they will qualify. They might also need those ADLs, which is great. That can go on the form as well, but that is not necessary. We also sometimes see people that have macular degeneration, essentially legally blind. Maybe you have Parkinson's or post-stroke. All of those diagnoses will absolutely help the person at the VA understand that you are medically qualified. There is a 3-page medical form that any doctor or nurse practitioner can fill out. Does not have to be a VA doctor. That's another thing that people oftentimes think is the situation, but it's very simple to qualify medically. This is not usually the reason that folks are denied the benefit. The third criteria of the benefit is monthly income versus monthly care costs. So the VA is going to look at the household income and the household care costs. So the reason I keep saying household is that even if one part of the couple is still healthy and does not need care, they will still count their income. So it's all Social Securities, pensions, wages of one part of the couple still working, rental income, interest and dividends from any investments. Now, the VA will let you reduce your income with your care cost. Just like we could reduce our income if we had a major medical event this year, we could deduct it from our taxes, sort of the same. So the VA will let you reduce your income when you're paying for home care, assisted living, memory care, sometimes independent living if they're providing you care with activities of daily living, adult daycare, nursing home care, health insurance, and long-term care insurance premiums. These are the monthly medical expenses that you can use to reduce your income. And what do I mean by reducing your income? Well, the VA is going to look at your total monthly income and your total monthly care expenses. Most people's situation looks like this. They have more money going out than they have coming in. And that's why this benefit exists. So this isn't bad. This will actually get you the full benefit. So if you are outspending your income with your care, the VA determines that you could be eligible for one of those 4 maximum amounts that we saw on the first slide, the 1432 all the way up to the 2642. All of these are going to make a significant difference in helping this family pay for care. The VA will count your entire assisted living costs. So it's the rent and the care. It's not just one or the other. It's whatever's at the bottom of the invoice is what you put on the application. So sometimes families get a partial benefit. This is usually when it's a married couple and only one part of the couple needs care. Let's say this family has $3,600 coming in, but the same $3,000 going out. The VA is going to say this family has a positive net income of $600. Now you might be using that $600 for groceries, utilities, cell phone bill, cable bill, car payments, debt, doesn't matter. None of those are medical. So unfortunately, what the VA does is they subtract the $600 from the maximum benefit amount that they could receive. So if this was a married veteran who needs care and he could have received $2,642, they're actually going to award him around $2,042. My personal opinion is spend a little bit more than your income on your care and maximize the full benefit. If you're holding back money to save some money, unfortunately, the VA also holds back the same amount of money, so you don't really come out ahead. Our software will actually help you do that calculation, and I'll show you that in a minute. I know it's a little bit confusing. So the fourth criteria of the benefit is countable net worth. The VA does look at a family's assets, again, household, husband and wife, even if it's a second marriage and they keep their assets separate, VA doesn't care. It's still money that can pay for your senior living. However, they are fairly generous with their asset limit. That goes up every year as well as the benefit amounts. They always trend the same as the Social Security COLA. The 8.7% for this year is what we're anticipating. So this has jumped significantly. It was in the 138s for 2022. It is now over $150,000. So essentially, a family can have $150,000 and a home and still be eligible for this benefit. So it's not like Medicaid. You don't have to be down to $2,000. You can actually have quite a lot of savings and still be able to apply for the benefit today. Now, what do they count into that 150? All bank accounts, CDs, annuities, IRAs, 401ks, mutual funds, real estate other than your primary residence. So that might be a second home. So if any of you have another home up north, or a commercial property, a rental property, maybe farm, probably not in Florida, but we do run across that. That is real estate. Then there's stocks and bonds as well. So anything that you can sell or liquidate is going to be considered an asset. Now, what assets are not considered? So a home, any home, $100,000 home, $1 million home. You cannot pay senior living with a window or a door. When you sell the home, that is going to be a problem. We're going to talk about that in 2 slides. You can also have up to 2 acres around your home. My guess in your area is that is the largest piece of property most of your homes sit on. However, if you are on a larger piece of property, you either need to count the value of acre 3, 4, 5, or you have to prove to the VA that it cannot be subdivided. Final expense policies, these are burial policies, little small life insurance policies, they don't count them. Neither do they count vehicles of personal property unless you sell them and you get a lot of money and you put it in your bank account. So if you are over the asset limit, I am glad to see nobody has hopped off the Zoom because there are ways to do planning. We can refer a family to do planning if they're over the asset limit. However, there is a 3-year look back. So with Medicaid, there's 5 years. This is much more generous. It's 3 years. However, if you do your asset planning incorrectly, the VA actually can hit you with a 60-month penalty, which is 5 years. So if you are over the 150, please don't hang up from this Zoom and start sending checks to everybody. That's going to hurt your eligibility. You want to go through our office. We will connect you with people that can help you with appropriate VA planning. You will likely not be eligible for 3 years, but if you are investigating your senior living options now, you don't live in one currently, or you would just like to get the benefit in your 3rd year, this is a great time to start thinking about it. Don't wait for 3 years down the road and then want to start doing the planning. Your other option is you can spend down and you can apply when you hit the asset limit for that year. What if you sell your home? So most people do sell their homes before they're moving into senior living. Totally understandable. If you're going to do that and the check you're going to get at closing is going to push you over the 150, I would recommend that you also connect with us. We can refer you to a VA accredited attorney. He can move your home into an irrevocable trust, and that will allow you to sell the home without the money going into mom and dad's name. That will keep the person eligible. So if you're going to move into the community and apply and sell your home, now is the time to do this. If you are receiving the benefit and you later want to sell your home, you also want to move your home into an irrevocable trust before you sell it, or you can lose the benefit. Some frequently asked questions, things you need to know, and then I'll show you the website very briefly. The average approval time, if you do this by pen and paper, is about 6 months. The reason is this is a 30-page application. It's very easy to make a mistake. And the 6 months is actually after you already get it in. It'll probably take you a month or 2 or 3 to even wade through the paperwork. If you use our software to do the application, we're seeing about a 3 to 4 month turnaround time. And families can complete the application on our site in about an hour if you sit down with your documents. You don't have to do it all at once, but typically people usually do it in just a few days. Benefits are paid retroactive to the 1st of the month after the application is received. So today is November 30th. If you get it to the VA by November 4th, the last business day is November 30th this year. Sometimes we lose a day or two because of the weekends. If you get your claim open by the 30th, the VA will owe you money starting December 1 if you're paying for care in December. So there is some urgency. If you're down to the wire, you can actually do an intent to file form on our website. The intent to file form will get the claim opened by November 30th by just filling out 1 page. It takes 5 minutes. You fill it out, print it out, sign it, and fax it. And that gives you a little more time without losing December money. The VA doesn't recognize a power of attorney signature, so I am for sure there are POAs on this Zoom. Please don't sign your parents' application. You need them to sign. If not, an X with 2 witnesses is acceptable, but they do not accept POA signatures. The VA will not pay disability compensation and the aid and attendance benefit. They give you whichever of the 2 is greater. So usually aid and attendance is more. So people on disability will apply for this. The disability will stop and their VA aid and attendance will start. If you're at 90 or 100% disability, you are probably on a greater benefit right now, and the VA is not going to give you both. So you do not need to apply. If applicant's care is paid for by Medicaid, the VA will give you $90 a month. If you're not paying your own money, you're not going to get the big bucks, but they will still give you $90 a month, and that's $1,100 a year that you can keep. As I said this before, if a spouse is divorced from a veteran or remarries a non-veteran, they are no longer eligible for the benefit. So this is our phone number. I'm going to show you our website. It's also at the top right. You can also email us at help@aidandattendance.com if you have any questions after this and you're not thinking of them right now. I am now going to see if I can, if I can share my screen here. This is our website. And again, you are welcome to put questions in the chat. I don't see any, so I'm going to just keep moving forward. This is our website. You can come right here to the See If I Qualify button. And what'll happen is it'll auto-populate a number of different surveys that you can take for free. So you can do these as many times as you want, either for yourself, for a client, for a loved one, for whoever. We've got this surviving spouse, single veteran, married veteran who needs care, which is that high dollar amount, married veteran if only the spouse needs care, if they both need care, so we can count the cost of both of them, and if you're healthy and planning for the future. If you don't know which one to take, hover over the question mark bubble, which will be throughout the survey, and we'll help you through it. Now, I'm not going to do the whole survey with you because hopefully you'll do this afterwards, or you'll give us a call. But what populates are 4 screens: military, medical, income, assets, the 4 criteria that I just talked with you. It's going to take you through your own personal situation. And at the end, it's going to give you a diagnosis. It's going to say you're eligible for the full benefit, where it might tell you you're only eligible for partial benefit, and it'll tell you how much more you need to spend in order to get the full benefit. It might tell you you're not eligible, you have too much in assets, or you're going to be selling a home. And it will allow you to ask for assistance from a person who knows how to do VA planning or a VA accredited attorney, and we'll connect you with that. So I would say it's about 14 to 16 questions. Also on our homepage is information that we just talked about. These are actually last year's benefits amounts. You can see how high they jumped. We will update these on December 1. You can see those wartime periods that I promised were going to be on here. You can see what types of care you can use to reduce your income. And towards the bottom, we've got a video of how to do the survey, although it's very simple, and a video, which is only 2 minutes, of how the software works. I'll just tell you, and then you can watch it yourselves. Essentially what it is it's like TurboTax. You're going to fill in all of your information into 10 tabs. The tabs have boxes and bubbles and check marks. And when you fully answer all the questions on each of the tabs, it will allow you to download your perfect application. Now, if you made any mistakes, you put the wrong dates in, you left something blank, you didn't add something up right, it will actually tell you. You're going to get an error message, and it will redirect you to fix that tab. We want you to print it out when you are at 100% complete. 100% means you've done your application correctly. And that's how it's going to go through the VA in 3 to 4 months. So the difference between us and TurboTax is that you do need to print it out. You need to download it, print it, and sign it, and then fax it to the VA. Now, it's not just your signature. That is the reason it can't automatically transmit. You need a signature from the veteran. So if you're the child helping them, you need a signature from their care provider, which is their assisted living, memory care, and you need a signature from their doctor. So doctors are not a big fan of DocuSign. So at the moment, we haven't been able to solve that issue yet. A little bit about costs so that we're transparent. If you do the survey at the end, it's going to direct you to the sign up page. We have 2 packages. We have a basic service, which I like to call the do-it-yourself software. If you're able to get on this Zoom and use Facebook and buy an airplane ticket, you can probably do the software yourself for $199. It will tell you if you've made any mistakes. If you need a little extra support, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, for $300 more, we will have my team help you through it. You get a customer-only phone number. It's not the number at the top of our website. You have a preferred number. We know that you've paid the extra funds. We have someone walk you through any data entry issues you have, really whatever you need, we're going to do it for you. And we will review your application before you download, print it, sign it, and fax it. We want to make sure it's in tip-top shape. We can get you an extra $25 a month. In the first year, you'll have recouped that $300. And this benefit goes on for as long as you're paying for care. Then we have some people that do want assistance from a VA attorney. I can appreciate that. I use a CPA for my taxes instead of TurboTax. So if you're one of those folks and you want to work with an attorney to get it done, we can also make the referral to that. Essentially, different strokes for different folks. When you're ready to sign up, you pick which package you need, which application you need to fill out, put in your contact information, your credit card information, how you heard about us, and hit submit. You will immediately get an email with a username and password, and you can start doing your application. Yes, it can be done in about an hour, although it can also take longer if you'd like it to. If you are an adult child in Florida and you have sister in California, you can both work on this. As long as you have the same username and password, you can divide and conquer the 10 tabs. And with that, I'm just about out of my 30 minutes. So I am going to see what questions we have. I see we have one in here. Okay. My dad was in the reserves prior to spending 2 years in the Navy. Would his reserve satisfy at least one day during a wartime period? Only if he was called to active duty. So that one day during a wartime period also has to be active duty. My question to you would actually be, the 2 years in the Navy, were they not during wartime? I'm guessing no. I'm guessing the wartime was when he was in the reserves. I would ask, does he have any discharge papers from the time he was in the reserves? The purpose of the reserves is to help people, in need in our country many times. He may have been called up to active duty for a flood, a hurricane, a fire, a riot. That would count, even if he's in the United States. It has nothing to do with the wartime effort. So I would check those discharge papers. Oh, my pleasure. Okay, I think I actually handled both of those. Does anybody else have any questions? If you don't want to type, you can raise your hand and I can see that and I can unmute you. Oh, okay. Ellie, you have a question. I'm just kidding.
Shocking. No, I actually do have a question though.
You do, and so
ask
does
it?
Nancy.
Yes.
So you ask a question.
So there was a slide there about Medicaid and VA benefits, because that is a question that we field a lot. And you had mentioned there about the $90, that if somebody's already on Medicaid, that then they would get from aid and attendance. Is that only in a skilled nursing environment? If somebody is, like, I'll give a scenario here. Let's say one of our clients moves into assisted living or memory care. They apply, they're not on Medicaid yet. They apply for aid and attendance and get it awarded. And then get on the wait list here in Florida, which can be long for Medicaid. And then maybe a year later, Medicaid approves them. Is it still only $90 that they would get? Because I feel like we have some clients that have been able to get both benefits.
So I'm going to repeat what I hear. So I think what you're saying is you move in as private pay. You have, let's say, a year or two of private pay, which sometimes is required and sometimes it's just because you're waiting. Then you move into a Medicaid room. You would need to let the VA know you're no longer paying for your own care and you would get $90 a month. Now, could someone still potentially be getting it and they didn't alert the VA and the VA didn't cross-check with Florida Medicaid? Yes. But if you're not paying for care, you're not really entitled to the full benefit.
Okay, that makes sense. Perfect.
So I do think that eventually VA will find out from Medicaid, but government agencies, it takes a little while. The bad part about not notifying immediately is you're going to owe that money back, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a good question. Yeah. So Nancy has a question. I'm going to unmute you, Nancy. Go ahead. Your screen's not on, but I think I can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we're trying to get my brother-in-law, who we've been taking care of. He's living on his own, but he's not paying for any kind of help at home.
Okay.
So I got a little nervous about you saying applying that was important.
Yep. So let me go back for 1 second. He's living with you. You're caring for him?
No, he's living in his own place.
Okay.
He probably shouldn't be, which is why we're trying to get him help.
Are you caring for him?
Somewhat, yes. We do his shopping. We go over and, he's on a walker, so he's limited to what he can do. He had a stroke.
Okay. So I hear your concern. This is the catch-22 with this benefit. You have to show that you're paying for care, that you're reducing that income, because if he's not paying anyone for care, even if his income is relatively low, the only medical expense he's got is his Medicare, maybe a supplemental policy. That's probably not going to make him financially eligible. You could do the survey and see if he can get a little bit of the benefit based on that, if his income is low and those costs are high. The other option you could do if you want to get it started so that then you can work with Ellie to move him into a community, is he could pay you for care. If you're providing it, I'm certainly, if you're not, then I wouldn't sign a form saying that you are, but likely you are providing him some care. Maybe you're there when he gets in and out of the shower and gets out so that he's safe. You could be his care provider. Now he would actually have to pay you, just like he would pay an aide or an assisted living building. And you would sign the form that says you're an in-home care attendant. I don't know if you're comfortable with that, but sometimes, less likely in your situation, but many times with children, they are actually living with or living near their parents and being their care provider. So they can be paid for the services they're rendering. That would be a way to get the benefit to start, unless the difference between his income and his medical expenses that he currently has is enough to at least get a little bit of the benefit. Which is another way to do it. You could get him approved maybe for $100 or $200. I would take the survey to see what it says. And in that situation, you can ask for an increase when he moves into a community. But again, there's going to be a little bit of a lag time. You're going to tell the VA that he's moved into a community thanks to Ellie. And then the VA is going to take, a couple months to bump up his benefit amount. They will retroactively give it to you based on when the month that he moved in. But you are, no matter what, going to have a little bit of a lag time.
Okay. So if we start right now with letting him pay us for care, does there need to be a long history of that before we apply for the benefit?
Just like with senior living, you move in today, you're eligible today. VA is not looking back at how long you've had care. They're looking at what are you paying today versus your income. So today you wouldn't get any money for November, just to be clear. So, you probably want to start as of December 1 and put in your application, get it in by November 30th. So you get December money, but yes, they don't look back at what your care was, because most times, things trigger and somebody doesn't need care one day and the next day they do.
All right. So the only way that you are eligible for the full amounts that you show are if there's a large expense for home care.
So, or assisted living or adult day. The VA looks at your monthly income and your monthly medical expenses. If you get down to zero, which most people do, then you get the full benefit. If not, any money remaining, they subtract from your benefit. So you could still get a pretty large benefit if he's a single veteran and he could get $22.29. Can I ask just a rough number of what his income is?
$1,600 a month.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, if he spends $1,600, he's going to get $22.29 back.
Right.
Think about that. He's already coming out ahead over $600.
Right.
So it's kind of worthwhile to spend all of your income because you end up with bigger income.
Well, all of his income is going towards his living expense right now.
Correct. So what you could do is he pays you and you pay his rent. You pay for his groceries. Kind of circle the money around. It's unfortunate that this is how this has to work, but that's how that could work. You could pay for his non-medical expenses. You would be his medical expense, and then you would pay for his non-medical expenses. You would pay his health insurance. Alternatively, which is probably more comfortable, let's say he pays you $600 of the $1,000.
Right.
He applies for the benefit. The VA says, and there is an exact calculation, but just to be easy, the VA says, well, this gentleman has $1,000 left. So we're going to take $1,000 away from $22.29 and they'll award him $12.29. Well, that's a lot of money. Maybe with that combination, he's going to be able to afford care once that starts coming in. Alternatively, you could also then have him start paying you more money and he can ask the VA for an increase. You can stair step your way to the top, but there is the catch-22 of you've got to spend to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can give you another resource that actually we work with. We work with a company called Elder Life Financial.
Okay.
And they provide families with bridge loans. Usually when someone's selling a home or applying for VA benefits. And the word bridge loan is exactly what it sounds. It's a bridge between the time they need the care and the time they have the funds to pay for the care. I will
Right.
put that in this chat box for everybody.
And I'm also very familiar with them, and we've had a lot of our clients use them in the past.
Okay.
You know, waiting for Medicaid, waiting for, like
Right.
you had mentioned, Emily, a home to sell, VA benefits. It's common for there to be that like 1 to 6 month period, you know, that people are
Yeah.
waiting for everything to align.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's an urgent move needed. So we've had clients use Elder Life as well.
Yeah.
That is a good bridge gap. I mean, so they're going to be looking at things like how is he going to pay off the loan? His credit, he's probably going to need a guarantor, which would be you, so your credit. But they are many times able to fund loans in about a day. So if you do want to think about maybe moving him straight into a community rather than all this rigmarole that we just talked about,
Mhm.
that might be a great option for you. It's a pretty low cost way to move someone in. And then when he gets his VA benefits, you'll have the retroactive check.
Okay.
And this is kind of beside the point, but there are, every once in a while, there will be communities that will offer as an incentive, you know, paying off the monthly cost of that loan. And so if that's needed, it's just something to keep in the back of the mind to talk to communities about, to see if they can help fund it as well.
Right.
I would say this is a reason to call Ellie, and she'll walk you through who she knows
Yeah.
will help you.
Well, he has
Yes,
given
Nancy.
us a little bit of money to hold for his funeral expenses, which, you know, we would probably be willing to supplement to get him in a place.
Right.
But it's a little bit nerve wracking to know that that will run out, you know, maybe before he has approval.
Well, I would say if you used our software, it's probably going to take you 3 to 4 months. If he meets all the criteria and you do it right, that's just it. So I would say you'd want to do some investigation about
Right.
what you have, and you know that the maximum benefit is going to be $22.29.
Right.
And think of it, you know, consider that he might not get the benefit for 4 months. Does that math all work?
Okay, so moving him into a place moves this along as far
Yep.
as qualifying.
Oh, yeah,
Because he's
because
in
you're going to be
assisted living.
spending, right,
Okay.
because you're going to be spending money on care. So if you move
Okay.
him in, let's say December 1, November 30th, you would then be able to document that. They will sign the form. You
Okay.
get it in, and I would say, what is it, December, January, February, March? By the end of March, you should have this benefit. So can you swing it? Either with the funds that you maybe are holding for his funeral, or maybe utilizing a bridge loan. And I mean, that you are a totally typical scenario.
Okay.
I would look at those two options and probably make your life a lot easier than trying to have him pay you and then stair step your way to the
Yeah.
top and then move him to assisted living.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, that's what I needed to know. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Any other questions? Oh, I do see it. Charles has his hand up. So Nancy, I'm going to have you mute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do it. Okay, I can do it. There we go.
There we go.
Hi, Charles. You can unmute yourself.
Okay,
There you go.
I'm his daughter, and
Okay. You don't sound like a Charles. You're right.
no,
Go ahead.
you had just talked about a situation we're in which the adult child is caring for the parent now, and he is currently taking some of his VA benefits that's for healthcare, and giving me some of that. And you said that for the form, you'd have to, do what was it called? The in-home care attendant?
Yes, but let me backtrack before we dive into that.
Okay.
He's already getting money for healthcare from the VA. Are you talking disability?
Yes. He's taking some of his disability compensation and giving it for me.
Okay, that's fine. Disability compensation is just basically income. What I was concerned is his disability is less than what he would get from aid and attendance, right?
We're working right now to increase that since he's had a recent health change.
Right.
So we're currently working to increase that disability and compensation.
So I know that can take quite a while.
Yes.
Is he close to the 22.29 right now?
22.29 is the
single veteran amount.
no. No, he's not.
Okay, good. If he was very close, I would say don't bother, is really what I was
No.
gonna say.
He's not, and he's not
Okay.
quite ready for aid in attendance,
Okay,
other than I am attending him. But as far as he needs help with making sure he eats the right things and takes his medicine on time. He doesn't require the other, he can
okay,
do all
okay.
the things for himself.
Okay. So it
But
sounds like he's not medically eligible yet, unless you can get a doctor.
he's not medically eligible.
Okay,
But you, just as far as, down the road looking at, and you had talked
yeah.
about what you had said. So how was that you get on there as an in-home care attendant?
So he pays you. The VA will allow a veteran or spouse to pay anybody.
Uh-huh.
I mean, typically it's done with assisted living or home care agency.
Okay.
Most likely assisted living. But any friend or family member, not a spouse, anybody else can be paid. So he would actually pay you just like you're a stranger.
Yes.
It's income for you. If you choose to report it on your
Yes.
taxes. I'm not a tax advisor, but I would suggest you consult with yours.
Okay.
And he has you fill out the page of the application. There's one page that the assisted living would fill out. If you're telling the VA you're spending your money with assisted living, there's another page that the home care attendant fills out. You would be the home care attendant.
Okay.
I mean, you basically are that right now. You're just not getting paid for it.
Yes. And at the moment, that's fine. But if things
Totally
change,
fine.
even more
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. It's just a way to trigger this. Usually people don't use that for the long run. They use it in the interim because they need, like Nancy, they need the money to come in before
Yes.
they feel like they can move their loved one.
Yes. Okay. You answered my question. Thank you.
Sure. My pleasure. My pleasure. Any other questions? I don't see any other hands. And I think the two in the chat box, I already answered. So let's click done on those.
I'm not able to mute my button. Just
Oh,
so
that's
you know.
okay. I could probably mute you. Here we go.
Thank you, ma'am.
But I think we're good. So I don't know if Ellie has any closing thoughts. You can unmute yourself, I think. I see.
No, I think we covered everything. We, again, just appreciate you so much of breaking it down. I'm a very visual person, so hopefully this was really helpful for everybody, not only to hear about it, but also see it. And the recording will be sent out, which will be great as well. And we'll include in that email of the recording, Emily will include a link to our website that also has a free veteran aid and attendance check guide on there, as well as a lot of other free resources like questions to ask when you're on tours, comparing senior living costs at home versus in assisted living or memory care. So there's a lot of really great stuff on there. So that link will be included as well. Thank you again, Emily. We appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure working with you. So good luck, everybody. I think this is a great resource, as is Sunways, and we look forward to helping you, and happy early Veterans Day.
Yes, happy Veterans Day. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.